Hello everyone, and welcome to the Siege Online Racing League. My name is Justin, your host for today, and we are in, I believe, what is round... I believe it's round 18? 15, sorry, oh my god, I'm completely off. Round 15 here in Russia, here in Sochi. Not my favorite tracks, as I'm sure other drivers will have their own thoughts about this track as well. But today it will serve as a very interesting context, because this man here, who's in the pits, Ruthful, oh no, he's not in the pits, he just left, can win the championship today if Yasin does not finish in the points or retires, and he'll have quite a significant lead. But for Ruthful's sake, let's hope he doesn't win today, because although he has been really dominant the whole season, I don't think after his performance he should be winning in a track like Sochi, let's be honest. As we'll watch for his memory. So we'll go on board with a lap with him because, well, you know, he's done so well, and I think if he does win or even gets pole, it'll be very likely. But right now, the dream contest, we can be getting is if Ruthful and Yasin are both on the first grid, but currently Yasin is on his out lap, and he'll set a lap before Ruthful, as they will all pile up for at least start to this Grand Prix. Alright, as Ruthful goes through the final corner to start a lap here at Sochi. Now, it's very easy straight here, one of the longest straights after the starting of the race. So heading into here, we want to brake roughly at the 150 meter board where that curb starts. Use as much of the curbs as possible on both the inside and outside. Here for a very quick left-hander. Is he going still? No, he's still, sorry. Use as much of the track as you possibly can there. Really nice. And here you want to brake once the 50 meter board just shows up in your vision. Here, use as much track on the left as you possibly can. Use as much of the curves on the right, which he kind of misses that. Forces him to go a bit wider than he would like. Uses a lot of the curve there, which is a pretty good run at the 100 meter board. Once again, use all the curves you possibly can. Avoid that outside because it will cost you a couple of thousandths of a second. It's not much, but those 1,000 seconds here at Sochi can be crucial right here. Braking roughly at 125 meters, use as much of the curve as she does just nicely here. Really want to feather the throttle, because if you go max out, you will lose the rear end due to the elevation change and the left hand. Takes that corner quite nicely, actually, as Yasin must have invalidated his lap. Going through the final corner now. Doesn't really use too much of that curve, but he doesn't need to because he's on pole position so far by quite some margin. So we'll go on board with Yasin, who is not going on lap. Yeah, no, he definitely invalidated it somewhere, and will not want to use any of his life in his tires. Right, so we'll go on board with Maple, as he has a bit of traffic there from Yasin. Yasin gets out of the way, actually taps the wall there. So Maple, one of the few medium compound tire runners. We'll have to see what he can manage to pull off here. He uses... okay. Whoa, he loses the back end there completely. He didn't use a lot of the... well, he used a bit too much curb. He was on track for using too much curb and actually cutting, so he had to straighten out and put him off his line. And here as well, he's got to the escape route-ish. I'll say this time will probably be a 35-36. He's on the medium Kappa tires. Actually, as Almighty puts it in P2 with a respectable 131.7, just under a tenth behind Ruthful. So will we see Almighty fighting for the lead in this race, because that would very much be needed, because Ruthful needs to win this race. In order to win the championship, he needs to be 21 points ahead of Yasin. So he needs to be P1 if he wants to win, because, you know, as we all know, P2 is only 18 points. So Ruthful needs to win and hope that Yasin finishes outside of the points. Or in I believe it's P9, P10. If Yasin finishes P10 or P9, as we know, it's 1 or 2 points, and Ruthful finishes P1, Ruthful wins the championship. Especially since it's a 131.7. Good luck from him. Everyone is in the pits, trying to catch someone who's on his lap. David entering the pits now. And that's mostly everyone in the pits who set a lap. Fessel's already at, I don't know, he's going to set a new lap maybe. Almighty on his out lap, in lap, sorry. Ruthful in the pits, I can't go on Ruthful for some reason. So we'll go ahead and try to find someone who's on hot lap mode. Might be on a lap right now. Turns out that no one is on a lap currently, so this is the part where we wait. If I can find someone. Right. Is it in? Okay, that still seems to be first. And he's not on a lap. Okay, that makes sense. The Inaudible Gamer is not on a lap. He's in hot lap mode though, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. But Twilight's on out lap, and Yasin, most importantly, is on an out lap, because if he wants any chance at not finishing last or outside the points or DNFing, he's going to want to start on that front row alongside Ruthful. He really needs to do that in order to secure his standings. Actually, now that I'm starting to think about it, even if Yasin finishes P8, it won't be enough for him to succeed. If he finishes top 7, he'll definitely... Ruthful won't win today if Yasin finishes top 7, but if he finishes 8th, 9th, or 10, he won't win either. Top 7 is a pretty easy task, I'd say, for Yasin. He's usually top 5 majority of the time, so hopefully pressure doesn't really get to his head, and didn't really seem like that. So starting his lap now. Keeping it on hot lap mode, which will cost him a bit of time. It will cost him a bit of time. If you want a hot lap, you definitely get that quicker straight line speed, but we'll have to see what he can do. Taking the tightest line possible, which is quite risky because if he goes 1 inch too far to the left, he will get his time invalidated as he goes wide. I'm not sure if that is invalidated or not. I think it is. Let's see. Oh, he didn't set a time before, so he won't be up or down on his time. But Ruthful is out of the pits. Don't know if he's the first racing point or the second one, but we'll have to see. He's kept in a hot lap mode this whole time. Not sure if he'll have enough ERS towards the end. Well, he'll definitely have enough ERS, but I'd say on the straights it could have cost him maybe a couple of tenths. And as I said, tenths, even milliseconds, are everything on this track. I don't think it's going to be pole position, but I could be wrong. Rounding up the final corner now, it's P3. It's very close, the top three. They're all under a tenth. Actually, the top four are all within 1.3 tenths of each other. 130 tenths, sorry, I should probably say. As Ruthful now sets the quickest up with a 131.2. Forget everything I said about being a tenth around each other. That's just completely gone. He's gonna lick the stamp and sent it. And there's definitely time for one more lap. If he'll be thinking of doing one more lap. That is up to him to decide. Going someone who is on a lap, I believe Vessel's on a lap. Alright, so he's using a lot of curb here. Will he be the first to lose the back end here? No, he's actually kept it in a straight line. Yellow flags in sector 2. So no one dies there. Bessel rounding up the final corners. He'll most likely be up on his time. Will it be pole position though? Will it pull Yasin down a few positions? And it's definitely pole position with a 1:31.0. Wicked time from Bessel. Heck, I'd be happy if I said 1:31.5 here. But Ruthful now being put under pressure because he knows he has to win this race in order to seal the deal, really, and hope that Yasin DNFs. So definitely we'll have to see his race pace, how it goes up with the likes of the others, as in the Inaudible Gamer actually puts in P2 with a 1:31.2. So not really a good lap from Ruthful, as we could see. It is a pretty good time, 1:31.2, not going to lie. But compared to the other drivers, it's definitely not where he would want to be in right now. As we'll go on Almighty, he is a tenth up on his time. He did go wide there, so I'm pretty sure he lost that tenth. And used a lot of the track there, so it might be invalidated, I don't know. But it seems like he's going to keep going. So I have to see how much he's covered. He needs to be up 7 tenths by the end of this lap if he wants to have a chance at pole position. Because I think this will be his last lap. The time he comes to the pits, the time he comes out, I don't think he'll have enough time. Especially you don't want to be pushing on your out lap either. You want to keep your tires in good condition and your and your car performance in general. I didn't check to see his. Anytime he's gained there, sector 2 has probably been lost via that and that. It's going to cost him a few tenths as he rounds up the final corner now, and he is 5 tenths quicker, but that was invalidated. As we saw that, so 5 tenths quicker with an invalidation. That would have put him in P2. I don't know if he cut a corner going through, but no, he's definitely aborted his lap. So we definitely want to come into the pits as soon as possible. So we'll go down with someone else. So Yasin in P5. So that top 7 is lurking and starting to hunt him now. Just do keep in mind, if Ruthful wins this race and Yasin is 8th or lower, Ruthful will win the championship. And I'm sure Yasin will want to keep it going until Japan, and heck, I'm pretty sure Ruthful would want to keep the championship alive until Japan as well, because you know Japan is such a historical track. Sochi, being historical for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, not many league racers or esports drivers enjoy Sochi, but it's that one track you have to go. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's this lap and next lap invalidated. He's cut that corner way too much going in, so that's very unfortunate for him. We'll go with someone else now. Someone else, let's see. David actually hasn't set up laps, so he's gonna want to come out soon. Actually, he has not. No, he has not, sorry. No, he's still in the pits. He might have a Chloe down, I don't know. Fox losing the back end there, and about to restart his lap, or not restart his lap, start lap. Futuristic getting out the way there. Right, let's see what he can do. Ruthful is on an out lap. I'm not sure if he's the first racing point. Let me just quickly check. He is the first racing point. So we'll go on board with Fox, see what he can do. As there's a lot of traffic, and there's a McLaren of R10 who has completely blocked Fox on his hot lap, and that might result in a 5-second place grid penalty for both the drivers due to a big collision. So Fox will definitely go on and report that because, well, that's his front wing gone, and that's basically any of his chances of setting a new lap gone. So we'll go on with Ruthful. We're going to start a lap. So I'd say these two, let me quickly check the race director, see what's up. Incidents, this and next lap invalidated. Yeah, Luca's lap was definitely, yep. There is no 5-second place grid penalty, which is very surprising considering how strict the game is when it comes to, even if you do the lightest of touches with someone, it automatically gives you a 5-place grid penalty. So Ruthful needs to set a lap that is 30 seconds quicker than before, and he is on his out lap. Now that I'm starting to think, now that I'm looking at it, or it could just be a visual glitch again like last time. Actually, no, it's not. He has 30 seconds to make it to the end of the line. I don't think he'll be able to. I think Ruthful has missed the line. I'm pretty sure he's missed the line. We'll check Yasin, who is on the lap, and see if he can make his way up the field. There's 15 seconds left. Ruthful rounding up the third sector now. He will not be able to set a new lap anymore. There's 10 seconds left, and I'm gonna definitely not make it in time. So finish up in the pits. So Ruthful with a provisional P3 now. So far, it's definitely not gonna stay like that. I can guarantee you that. Ruthful is going to stay out though. He's gonna cross the line. Yep, he's finished it. Provisional P3. Now, will Yasin be able to improve? Will he be able to get that pole position? So right now, Vestal is our provisional pole leader. As Almighty crosses the line, cannot improve. Actually, yeah. Addy, though, his teammate is going to cross the line. Will he be able to put it in P1? No, he cannot improve. He does improve, but yeah, not enough. R3 now puts in provisional P2, so that's a really good lap by the Racing Point driver. Now, Vestal does not improve on his time, crosses the line, and I believe Yasin took too much turn. No, he doesn't. He puts in provisional P5 alongside with his teammate to round up the third grid. So it's a Ferrari lock on the third grid. Now, will anyone be able to battle this this pole position? The Honorable Gamer won't be able to. Oh my god, I just saw someone get rammed. That's Ruthful's AI there, so he'll be starting on a fresh set of tires for the race. Futuristic won't be able to set that. DS, will he be able to get himself out of the top 10? Actually, his Pixel will cross the line first. Oh, almost uses too much curb, crosses the line, puts in provisional P11. Maple out of the race. R10 has retired, and that's everyone for the start of the race. Alright, so here is your starting grid. Vessel and R3 to round up P1. The Inaudible Gamer and Ruthful to round us second. Yasin, David third. Almighty, Twilight fourth. Luca, Addy fifth. Pixel, J Piffy sixth. DS, Fox seventh. Polar Haze, K Hunter 8th. R10 Futuristic 9th. And to round up the final grid, we have Maple, who is the only medium runner in the whole grid for now, who did his qualifying. So right now, Ruthful is not really in a position he wants to be in, considering Yasin's right behind him. So there'll definitely be a battle heading into turn 1. But Ruthful needs to be P1 if he sees that Yasin has retired from the race or something along those lines. As we wait for the formation. Right, as we have the formation lap. Vessel is in P1. He is a very quick driver, nonetheless. I race against him, and I could definitely confirm he is a quick boy. I think the one thing, he doesn't use any racing assists, or car assists I should say. He doesn't use traction control or ABS, he just uses line. So definitely someone to look out for. He has a matching helmet there for his Williams. Looks nice. Behind him, he does have quite a bunch of no assist runners behind him. I believe Pixel is the only one with ABS on, I think, or something like that. I probably shouldn't be going over assists, but you know, that's the thing. So definitely we'll have to see what happens during this race. How many safety cars will we get? How many VSCs will we get? How many incidents will we get? How many, so many different questions. Will Ruthful be able to win this race? And will Yasin be able to kill himself or finish outside the top 7? Will there be an unexpected victory? Will there be, all those different questions? But we do have new medium runners. Maple has opted to go on the softs. So qualifying on the mediums was essentially useless for him, which is unfortunate because he's starting dead last. Then we have Futuristic R10, Fox, and Pixel, who's opted to go on the medium compound tires as Vessel lines up the final corner now. And hopefully we'll have an interesting race start on hands. Alright, so here we go for the starts of the Russian Grand Prix. We have a terrible camera angle, but right as there are 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. It seems to be a pretty good start from the racing point of, I believe that is R3, who slotted himself into P1. Ruthful looking very lively there as he gets pushed out, and there's going to be a 3 wide heading into turn 1. There's contact in between the Ferrari, I believe that is David, who spun around, and also Almighty there in R10, and a bunch of other cars. And then we have a safety car, a full-blown safety car on lap 1. So R3 with a mega launch heading into turn, not even turn 1, just the first corner of the track, puts himself into P1. The Inaudible Gamer in P2, and Ruthful has actually managed to put himself in the podium position, with Vessel getting a horrendous start, starting from P1 already in P4, and Yasin stayed in his original position in P5. Let's quickly check the position change. So Vessel lost 3 positions, Yasin stays the same, Lucas actually gained 3 positions, Pixel has gained 3 positions, David's lost 1, and DS has gained 3. Futuristic's actually gained 7 at that restart, and Almighty being the biggest loser out of position line changes. He's lost 18 or 11 positions as DS actually has left the session. So we'll have a safety car for, say, until entering lap 3, if everything goes to plan. Actually, R3's opted to put it in the pits. Will he go on the hard compound tires? I'm pretty sure he'll be wanting to go on the hards. He's actually going on the mediums, so those mediums can go to the end. I've seen that happen definitely once or twice. There's actually a Williams there going into the pits as well. That's Maple, who I believe lost a bit of his front range. So that's put Ruthful into P2 and Yasin into P4, the two to watch this race. Right. So, it's gonna be an interesting restart. See if Ruthful might be able to snatch P1 off the restart. Yes, and maybe spinning at the first corner. Hey, maybe he might be able to snatch P1. So safety car definitely won't be in this lap, the next lap. Alright, so let's go on board with the new race leader. Yeah, so safety car is not in this lap, most likely going next lap. DS gets a 5-second time penalty for severe collision with Futuristic. That's unfortunate. Let's go back down the grid. That's weird. Right, so that's a 5-second time penalty for him. So, a safety car will be in this lap. That's not official though, so I'm just saying that because that's usually how it goes. So 20-ish or so laps left, and there's already been a safety car. So people who went on the mediums there might be able to go to the end. So that's definitely something to look out for. So, on this restart, my prediction will be the Honorable Gamer will keep, it's difficult because Ruthful, we've seen him at the launch. He got a mega launch. Well, mega launch. His teammate did, but he also managed to catch up really quickly. So we'll definitely have to see what happens. As we'll see safety car in this lap once it crosses the sector 2 sign. Yep, safety car in this lap. So with that in mind, Ruthful, or not Ruthful, sorry, and Futuristic gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So Ruthful seeming very lively behind him, trying to maybe send him a mental message saying, hey, I'm behind you, I'm going to get past you soon. As there goes the inaudible gamer. Oh, we thought he went. He saw Ruthful got the better of him, so he decided to slow down. So, oh my god, Ruthful is basically pushing him, but he doesn't get the best of restarts. He still manages to stay in the lead and really go for a move down the inside, heading into turn. He's definitely close enough to do so. He looks to the inside, but he doesn't actually, as Yasin goes on a move on Bessel as they run side by side through the wide left-hander, and actually they'll go 3 wide almost with Luca, who's looking very lively, and Luca dives one down the inside past David, gets the move done, and that's basically that. So Ruthful definitely being put under pressure from his rival Yasin. Because, you know, as I said multiple times in the stream, Ruthful needs to win, and Yasin needs to either DNF or finish outside the top 7. As we have the yellow flag as Jay Piffy, who's actually spun and who stopped on the track. And he keeps going. That's a lot of time wasted. I'm sure he definitely maybe tried to call out the safety car there by standing in the middle of the track. It didn't work out in his favor, and now he's lost a lot of time because of that. So Ruthful going purple actually. So the inaudible gamer is definitely holding up Ruthful from what we can see sector times wise. He goes very close there, almost taps the wall. So top 2 already almost a second. God, they are a second in front of P3. Ruthful will need to focus on getting a good launch here since he passes up at 136.1, and he'll definitely be able to get the move done heading into turn 1. The inaudible gamer can really only see Ruthful go by as they run side by side heading into turn 1. They touch tires heading into turn 1, and the inaudible gamer has actually done a really solid move going around the outside of Ruthful. However, Ruthful will want to get a move on and will want to get a charge on. The top 6 are 2 seconds separated from 7th and under, and then there's a couple of trains here around there. Heading into the second sector, the inaudible gamer seems to be gaining a bit of time on Ruthful, but it's the third sector and the first sector where the inaudible gamer is really struggling. That's really when you need your straight line speed. Especially here, but with DRS, the inaudible gamer won't be able to do much about it, and I don't think he'll actually be able to keep his P1 heading into here. He's actually gone reservative, Ruthful, heading into this couple of corners. You see some action here. There's actually side-by-side action heading into sector 3 under the tunnel, and it seems to be not the move done by DS, but actually he's coming under pressure now from Ruthful's teammate, R3. Using the back end there. R3 actually didn't move on Kiki Hunter. I didn't even realize that. So we'll stay up at the front. DRS is enabled, and thanks to the inaudible gamer holding up a bit of Ruthful, yes, has been able to catch up, but Ruthful goes down the inside of the inaudible gamer, who can only really watch him go by. He gets the move done. And Yasin doesn't really seem like he's going to finish outside the top 7. So that's definitely something to look out for, as Yasin and the inaudible gamer now are scrambling around to get a move done. Actually, there's yellow flag. That's KK Hunter, who's spun and is already back on track. Going back to the front. There's already a 5/10 gap. And Yasin will want to get past the inaudible gamer as soon as possible, to avoid the traffic. Not to avoid the traffic, just to essentially... Oh, that's Luke actually, as I turn on to him, has lost the back end, and who's actually lost his front wing. Oh, that was very dangerous of Luca there, as if ghosting was not a thing, Pixel would be dead. Because he definitely wasn't going quick enough. And Ruthful, I believe, has lost a bit of his front wing there. He's lost his right in plate, which is a move there on Pixel. Futuristic picking his opponents one by one. First it was DS, now it's Pixel getting into that corner. It's a very good stuff from him. Ooh, R10 goes very wide there, almost slides and does almost full 360. The Inaudible Gamer will just about be in the DRS, I believe, which is not good news for Ruthful, as he is at the DRS. But he does not have that much DRS to play with. We can definitely tell he's pushing, and Luca retires in the pit lane due to his spin. Did actually get the 3-second time penalty for cutting that first chicane. Ooh, shoot, wait, actually, there's side-by-side action. Yes, and around the outside, the long left-hander gets the move done, but the Inaudible Gamer is definitely wanting to get a move done, actually, as a Vessel looks to the inside, but doesn't actually properly do it, and there's a crash at the back. Eddie, who's actually, and we have another safety car. There's a 3-car incident, or 2-car at least, and then there was a pile-up with a third one. We have Futuristic and Addy, who actually came together. Very unfortunate for Futuristic. He was doing a pretty good race, and Luca now, if he's tuned onto the stream or is even watching this, will be very cross. Yes, he definitely did watch this. He'll definitely be very cross because he could have boxed, changed his front wing onto the mediums, and with safety car would have bunched everyone up. So this is really a free pit stop, I'd say, for the front soft runners, because this will allow the medium runners at the back here to catch up. So maybe because you usually boxed around lap 10 here, but since there was another safety car, I think it would be smarter for him to go into the pits. He does so, go into the pits, and yes, and follows. And so is the Inaudible Gamer and Vessel and R10. The medium runners won't follow though, because, well, they're not mediums. So R3 will be the new or R10, sorry, will be the new leader, and then all of these medium runners, at least a few of the medium runners, will be in front. So there'll definitely be a bit of traffic. Vessel might actually be held up in the pits here. He gets held up by the McLaren, that's about it. This will coming out now in P5. So he didn't really lose that many positions. Do keep in mind, Polar Haze, Almighty, R3, and R10 are all on old medium compound tires, which will mean that they will be slower. And Ruthful will definitely be able to overtake him as soon as possible. Or will definitely be able to overtake the Penguin. Right, so safety car will be in, entering lap 10, I'd say. Or if we're lucky, maybe entering this. Actually, no, maybe not this lap. Yeah, definitely entering lap 10. Yes, is rejoined. Alright, so safety car's definitely not in this lap. Let's look at the position changes since the very start of the race. Please. Position change. R10 is 16 position, has gained 16 positions in a space of 8 laps. And he'll definitely not be dropping that much. I'd say he'll definitely get a points finish, because it is quite difficult to overtake here. Basically, the only chance is a straight line, or not straight line, sorry, the 2 straights, or the long left-hander, which we've seen multiple people do, and even entering sector 2. Other than that, that's really about it. We're going tires. Let's roll. So as all the drivers. Well, quickly. The safety car with Yama going very quickly there. R10 eager to go by. I'd say definitely these two. Ruthful is not in a position to be Sunday driving for a win because, well, Yassin's right behind them. So Yassin, you know, things can be bad. If Ruthful manages to overtake these cars really quickly, and Yassin just appears to be stuck at a roadblock and concedes 2 positions, he'll lose this race, or lose even this championship, as we should be able to see at the bottom left safety car in this lap. About 3, 2, 1. Safety cars in this lap. Look at me. Alright, so we'll go up to the front, watch R10. Actually, 3-second time penalty. And R10 has already restarted the race. Vessels actually conceded, Fox has actually already conceded a position. Actually, R3 gets a terrible launch. Ruthful seems pretty lively behind Polarhaze, and we already have another yellow flag at the back. What has happened here? This is the Fox. It's Fox who spun. He's lost a bit of his front wing, I believe. And he's lost his right end plate. I believe he spun. And actually, there's side-by-side action here at the back. Pixel on Maple gets the move done, but cuts the corner, and therefore will receive a 3-second time penalty, which is very unfortunate for him, as he already has multiple 3-second time penalties. Yassin actually looking very lovely on the back of Ruthful, because Ruthful is being held up by Polarhaze. And already the top 3 train seems to be leaving a bit, which once again is pretty unfortunate. Polarhaze is really holding them up now, and Ruthful definitely wants to get a move on. He sees an opportunity here. He'll go around the outside if he can. He'll try and get a switchback, and he does. He gets a pretty nice switchback, and that's him promoted into P5. Now, as difficult as that move was, Yassin will be easily able to follow him through and might actually challenge Ruthful round the outside here, heading into Sector 3. There's barely any room given, and they touch tires as Ruthful, well, he couldn't really give that much space to him, and he's losing the car completely there. Yassin goes wide. Will be forced to take the tighter line there. That's unfortunate. And the top 3 seem very lively on their old medium compound tires. R3 completely sticks his nose in the middle. And because of the hold-up, Ruthful is now on the back room, just like that. Yassin almost a second behind. There's actually a move here. R10 already overtaken R3. Actually, R3 sticks it around the inside. R10 forced to go out wide. And might have picked up a warning for that. I don't know. But R10 and R3 seem to be going at it, as Almighty might go for a big boy lunge down the inside. Yes, he does. He sticks his nose in, but he doesn't get the move done quite well. R3 gets a 3-second time penalty for going off wide. Oh, Almighty completely slams on the brakes, and Ruthful forced to take evasive action as he goes down the inside here, heading into Sector 2. It's not really the best place for overtaking. Almighty tries to force the move around the outside, which he doesn't really manage to do that quite well, but he sticks it around the inside. And they're still side by side here, heading into the long straight. Lots of room given, but look at Yassin, he's already right behind. Ruthful will want to cover that inside line. Almighty will cover the outside line, maybe, as they'll go 3 wide, heading into under the tunnel section, and there's been contact here. And they're still touching, and Yassin once again almost spins at the same corner. It's almost a copy-paste last time, but Almighty being very aggressive when it comes to defending, which is good to see. But the way he's doing it, I think it's a bit forceful. he's on the slower tires. I don't think there's much need really to do that much, but Almighty does not have DRS because of all that, but Ruthful does. So heading into turn 1, it should be a pretty easy move around the outside for Ruthful, as Almighty might send one down the inside. He does. He sticks the nose in, but Ruthful keeps on the racing line, as Almighty will also concede a position to Yasin, unless if he does one of his big lunges down the inside, but I think he's way too far for that. Oh, he actually taps the back end of Yasin there, heading into that corner, which is pretty bad stuff there. But the Inaudible Gamer losing positions, and he spun around, and that's his right end plate completely gone, and he's put it on the racing line, but he keeps going. So sucks. It's really unfortunate because he seemed pretty lively for the race win, or at least for a podium. But then a few incidents towards the back. The 2 Alfa Romeo drivers actually were in that incident at the 50-car restart, which is not good to see. R10 does not have DRS on the back of R3, meaning that Ruthful will be able to close in, and will definitely be looking for a move at the main straight, passing the pit lane. R10 will definitely be struggling on these old medium compound tires because, well, they're 11 laps old, and I'd say the bucks for softs at around lap 15 or so, or no, maybe not lap 15, sorry, maybe around lap 19, 20, 21, something like that. Alright, so once again, R10 does not have DRS, and Yasin has the DRS on Ruthful. Ruthful has the DRS on R10. Will go down the inside, heading into turn 1. Yasin will try and stick with them, or at least attempt to pass R10 really quickly. But it seems like he might actually get held up here by R10. And R10 might send one down the inside, and no, he stays within the limits as Yasin completely cuts that corner. It will definitely be a warning for him. As we'll go back, as actually there was some move. Vessel, who did have pole position, do keep in mind, is only in P6, and DS has entered the pits and is retired in the pits. The Audible Gamer, though, has put on softs and kept his nose up and put on some softs, and we'll try and hope for a safety car at this point, as Fox sits the fastest up on those fresh softs, the 135.9. So Vessel got the move done. Ooh, and actually Yasin on the back of R10. Will he get a little spin like he did last time? R10 completely outbrakes himself, which forces Yasin to outbrake himself as well, and that's allowed Almighty to close up the gap. And this is very bad stuff for Yasin, as he gets a little left tap there at the back, and will get a switch, and they will still run side by side. R10 really desperate to keep that position, because this really does mean everything for him. Ruthful sets the fastest lap on these fresh mediums, finally after some clean air. Yasin does not have DRS, so R10 should easily get the move on Yasin back. He doesn't opt to go for the slipstream. He does put it in. Actually, Ruthful has actually gone for a move down the inside of his teammate, so the 2 racing points are currently leading this race. So now R3 will definitely try and hold up Yasin as much as he could, and hope that, yeah, I'm not hoping for anything, but Ruthful will definitely be hoping that Yasin either spins out, puts him towards the back, or at least he finishes under an 8th or lower. And 8th isn't that low, and Yasin actually got a 3-second time penalty, so that's not good news for him. He will drop down the order towards the end of the race, especially considering how closed in everyone is. The top 8, this is his teammate basically. Yasin, he can see his teammate just down the road from him. Actually, that's a bit of an emphasis there, but no, he could definitely see him. You can see a bit of red over there. That's Yasin's fate there. If he keeps this up, R10 gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Vessel goes down the inside of Almighty. That's a very awkward place to go, and Vessel gets a 3-second time penalty as a result of that. He gets squeezed around the outside. He's going for very awkward moves there, Vessel, but he's definitely trying to get a move on because, well, starting for pole position and going down to P6 isn't really what you want to see in any circumstance. But R10 did manage to stay in the DRS of the Essen, which is good for him because he'll be able to get dragged along. But that doesn't mean he'll be able to stay as it cuts the corner. Doesn't get a 3-second time out to the cover. So Jessen managed to not stay within the DRS area, but Vessel on the back of Almighty will be able to get the move done. But Almighty does have DRS, and he concedes the position. Is that on the outside? No, but he doesn't keep it. He doesn't make it stick. Polaris gets another, or gets a 3-second time penalty, not another. But Jessen is definitely losing touch with the 2 Racing Point boys because, well, Ruthful is extending his lead, and R3 is using the DRS to basically keep at it. So really, the 2 Racing Points are looking good for a 1-2 here in Sochi. Good for him, but it's not good for Jessen. If Jessen wants to get as many points as he can, do keep it. Ooh, there's his teammate, actually David, being put under pressure by Pixel. Pixel opts to around the outside and might actually get an illegal overtake there, as the yellow flags in sector 2, and that's Vessel actually who's spun, who's lost the back end or something, but let's put him down into P10. Does he have his front wing gone? No, he still has his front wing intact perfectly. So not sure exactly what happened there. So Earthful's chances of winning the championship here are close to none. I'd say it's impossible for him now because Jessen definitely doesn't look like he's dropping down the order. R10 and all the old medium runners are though. So unless if Jessen spins, Ruthful will be taking his championship into Japan, and all he'll need to do is finish ahead in the points, I believe, to Jessen. So Arthur actually didn't manage to stay in the DRS there. That's not good for him. Polar is on the move on Almighty there. Gets the move done before the corner starts. And once again, Pixel got the move done on David. And now his teammate Twilight will want to follow him. David gets a 3-second time penalty. And Maple and KK Hunter are close to each other. We'll keep at the front with Twilight now. We'll want to get the move done on David. David will go around the outside of Pixel as they touch tires. It doesn't really look good. Pixel's still there. His teammate almost rammed the back end of him. Get a good run though. They're still side by side, David and Pixel. And ooh, they touch tires once again. And actually, that's his front wing. David has lost the right side of his front wing, which is bad in any circumstance, but especially here where a lot of downforce is required. Ooh, David looks for it, and KK Hunter and Maple. Oh no, that's because the Anaba Gamer went into not the Anaba Gamer R10. Bristol seems to be extending the gap, but Yasin now is in the DRS range of R3. Which means that this 1-2 for Racing Point doesn't look good. But let's see, how many penalties does Yasin have? Yasin has... I know Yasin has a 3-second time penalty. Because I saw that. Yeah, Yasin with the 3 seconds. Does he have any more warnings? He does not. So, Yasin only with that 1 3-second time penalty. Yes, that's it. Yasin has 1 3-second time penalty, no warnings. But whoa, R3 is there now in front of him. And there's a yellow flag. Someone's losing positions. That's Twilight, who spun and lost his front wing. That could be a safety car or a virtual safety car. No, it's nothing. David gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and retires from the session as we go on to Vessel, on the back of Pixel. And wants to get the move done. And oh, that's danger there from Pixel, who's completely blocked him from going down the inside. Vessel hangs around the outside and gets the move done. Clean move by Vessel, but definitely not on Pixel's end. That was very dangerous. I'm sure the stewards will be looking at that because that's some dangerous blocking there. Pixel still there. He definitely hasn't lost him. And yes, and now puts him in P2 after that straight. Sorry if I didn't look, and taps the back end of Vessel. Definitely saw that coming. Have to give a little love tap, I guess. Give him a little boost. And Pixel gets a 3-second time penalty. So it's going to demote him down to P8 as things stand. And now actually Yasin will set his sights on Ruthful. So unless, as I said, if Ruthful if Yasin does not spin and keeps on track, Ruthful will keep his championship, or Yasin will keep his championship hopes into Japan. And I think all Ruthful will need to do is finish top 2. R3 does have DRS, and Yasin doesn't. But I don't think he's going to catch up by much, because we have 8 laps to go in this Russian Grand Prix. R3 gets a 3-second time penalty there. Twilight on the move. Oh, Pixel's actually coming to the pits. I believe it's because he's tapped the rear of Vessel. So his chances of finishing in the points now are very slim. Or close to none. No chance now, I'd say. But we'll stay on board with Yasin for a lap. See what he can do. If he can catch up by any means. So it seems like Yasin is losing a 10th a lap to Ruthful, which isn't good to see for him at least. KK Hunter is only entering Sector 2 now, so even with a spin, I don't think Yasin will be in last or something like that. He hasn't actually gained that 110 since last time. So there are not many people. There's no one actually close to each other. No one is within a second of each other. It's all 1 or 2 seconds. So there's not that much action to see. So we'll stay on board with Yasin. See his progression. He's definitely a pushing now. He does have a lot of ERS to play with. Ruthful is being conservative. So yes, it's actually getting the play 310s. Which is good for him. Not good for Ruthful if he wants to keep his chances of winning alive. Penalty wise, I know Yasin needs to finish at least 3 seconds ahead of Ruthful if he wants to win this race. I don't think Ruthful has a penalty. Actually lost that 10th leg hand. So it's just under 6 laps to go. There are 6 laps to go, sorry. Almighty gets a 3-second time penalty. Okay, we'll go down the grid now as Twilight's actually in the under 1 second to R10. Will he be able to get the DRS? Does not get the DRS. Which is not good for him. JP gets another 3-second time penalty. Towards the front. Whoops. It seems that gap is staying relatively the same. And ERS wise, every time I look, yes, it's always at that 70. Always at that 70 mark. So that gap is definitely staying the same. Once again, no one's really, everyone is now, the average gap is now at 4 or 5 seconds now, so, sorry if I'm not making it sound exciting, but everyone is at their own pace now. No one can really, I almost go on to maple spinning, no one can actually see each other except for Twilight on R10. These are the only 2 drivers that can see each other. Actually, R10 on KK Hunter as well. So these 3 drivers are the only ones that can see other drivers. And Maple Bit, which is definitely something I haven't seen before. But Yasin can definitely see it Ruthful. He's right in front. He's definitely going to go for a lap 2 lap push. Gets a 3-second time penalty. So the third to final lap of this race, I'd say Yasin's push will commence now. So Yasin is definitely close enough to be able to want to, how do I make this sound not weird? He's definitely close enough to want to win the race, if that makes sense. Like I'm going to say, he's close enough that he wants to touch him. He's definitely going to want to stay close. So we'll stick on board with Ruthful. Oh, it has been a move. Ooh, Polar Haze and Vessel, finally some action in a little while. So Vessel and Polar Haze, these are the two closest drivers, with R10 being relatively close to the back of KK Hunter. Alright, so Polar Haze on the back of Vessel. Will it be enough to go for a big boy dive pod heading into turn 1? No, I don't think so. But Yasin is actually 1.5 seconds behind behind Ruthful. And Ruthful, yeah, rest-wise, they're pretty, okay, they're not even. He's definitely more ahead. But I'd say, Yasin, your push needs to start now, because one lap isn't going to cut it, especially since you're 1.7 seconds. So I'd say try and keep in hot lap, overtake high, you know, just qualifying laps for the next few laps, really. So I'm surprised that the medium runners that box at the first safety car managed to make it until the end. They will make it until the end unless if they get a puncture. Actually, there's a move here at the back. Jay Piffy on the back of the Inaudible Gamer. He's gonna go for a send. He stays back, which is definitely the most reasonable thing to do in these situations. Going up the field, R10 on the back of KK Hunter has DRS. Lags back a bit, but I think he'll be close enough. Yeah, I say that, but he's gaining quite rapidly. Unless if he outbreaks himself, we'll definitely be able to get a touch from him. As we head on to the final lap now, it's not that I don't want to stay on these guys, it's that I want to see the progression in between the top two. As KK Hunter completely finds a new track, locks up, loses the back end. And that's his hopes and dreams gone for the time being. But back at the end, Jay Piffy and the Inaudible Gamer are still fighting off for this P12 position. As Jay Piffy manages to get that move done. KK Hunter, or R10 on the back of KK Hunter. Will he be close enough? Yes, he will definitely be close enough to get the move done. 9 lap old softs versus 19 lap old mediums. There's not really that much battle you can do. And actually, yes, there is. KK Hunter actually stays, but almost spins out because of it. And these top two, definitely not close enough at all to be battling. They're using all their ERS, all their fuel, I'd say. So from what I can tell, Ruthful is going to win this race. It won't be the championship, sadly, because the Essence right behind him. But it'll definitely be P1. We have an Alpha Mayo there on the side, Fox. So Ruthful now coming across the final corner now to take victory here at Sochi. What a great race from him. Yesin comes home in P2, and R3 will come home in P3, unless if Yesin has quite a few penalties. No, he definitely comes in P3. So that's your podium finish, unless Almighty sneaks himself onto the podium by 9/10 of a second. So Almighty does get, and whoa, Vessel there, who's starting on pole position, finishes P5. Not the best of results for him, but it's better than not finishing in the points at all. Maple finishes P6, and Polar Haze is demoted down to P7. R10 will round up the final corner to take P8 in this race. Kiki Hunter closely behind him in P9, and Twilight to round up the top 10 position. Pixel in P11. J Piffy will finish, I believe, in P12, unless he has the time penalty and the Anomaly Gamer doesn't. But as things look, J Piffy 12th, and yep, no, the Anomaly Gamer finishes P12. And J Piffy finishes P13. So there's your race, there's your podium. Ruthful once again in P1, Yasin in P2, Almighty in P3, and that is your top 3. It was a great race. It was an entertaining one, definitely with the 2 safety cars. Spice things up a bit. Now, here are your final standings. Now, my driver of the day would definitely go to Maple. He finished, now it might be easy, to do a remontada, but he did start P19. He finished, even with 2 stops, finishes P6, which was a great drive from him. Didn't get any time penalties as well. So great race from him. So congratulations to Ruthful for winning this race, also not getting any time penalties. And that's been your race. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week in Japan. Goodbye.